Welcome back, everyone. Um, this is a typical reading. You know how I do them. If you don't know really quickly, this is how it goes down. I do a little prayer before we do the reading. I don't have any intention for what this reading is going to give. This reading is 100% spirit led, and essentially, it is whatever the collective needs the most. The readings do tend to be triggering. I do not give fluffy bunny readings that are, all love, light, happiness, and joy. I tend to usually dive into some pretty heavy stuff. And if you're not prepared for that, you are more than welcome to just log off this video now. So without further ado, let's get into it. Just a really quick prayer before we begin. Okay. Getting the number 22 right out of the gate. So 22 might be significant to some of you, okay? Or 22 or 222 might be significant to some of you. And that's going to be a sign for you. Where do you want me to start? Do you want me to use a deck? This one. Okay, I haven't used this deck actually in a while. 3 cards. I don't always read reversals unless, I know I haven't really explained that part. I don't always read reversals unless I am told to read reversals or unless the message deems that I should read reversals. Okay, three cards, sorry. 3 cards, not that one, leave it. Okay. So we have the Waker, the Patron, and the Archer. The Waker, awareness, reflection. The Patron, mentorship, finances. The Archer, biding your time, planning ahead. Okay, so this group here, first off the bat, you guys are on a spiritual journey. When I see this card, the very first thing is opening of the eye, right? Opening the eye up, being more awake, being more aware, using your intuition more, third eye, right? And also protection from evil. This is the first thing that I'm getting out of this card here, right? So right out the gate, those of you who are in this group, this is going to be only applying to a very small group of you. This is not actually as great of a collective as what I normally do. This is specifically for people who are in the intuitive business or intuitive psychic sphere that are opening a business or trying to open a business and are trying to sort out the back end of those things. Okay, so if that's not you, this reading's not for you. Okay, like I said, this reading's for a very, very specific niche group of people. Okay, there is a clearing of fog that is going to be occurring, has occurred recently, or will be occurring very, very soon with this card coming up. Okay, I'm not going to be reading this down here. I'm going to be focusing mostly on the imagery. They're telling me to kind of ignore the wording here and to focus on the images. So that's what I'm doing. So the eye is seen through all of this cloud cover here, all of this fog. There's a sense of opening up and gaining clarity on what it is you're supposed to do and the next step forward. With this card here, you need to sort out some stuff. You need to be wary of some legal stuff first and foremost. There's also this sense of watching the binds, right? There's a sense of freeing yourself from these binds. For many of you, this is an invisible bind, meaning that these are things that are in your mind. These are issues that you created within your mind that you felt were literally tying your hands together, right? There's this sense of, oh, my hands are tied. I can't do this thing because my hands are tied. This is telling you that your hands are no longer tied. Okay, the binding on your hands is breaking free. Your hands are no longer tied anymore. Okay, you've gained the knowledge and the insight you need in order to break through from here. But there's going to be a sacrifice, right? In order for you to release these binds, there's a sacrifice that needs to be made. Okay, when I see the go through the hand, it's almost like there's a sacrifice, right? You're sacrificing something for this. Okay, in many cases, this is something like time. This is something like your current job. You can't hold on to your current job if you're going to be doing a new job, right? You can't hold on to your old life while stepping into your current life. Okay, so there's this sense of you're not willing to sacrifice certain things, and so you feel still bound. Once you decide, okay, I'm going to cut down my job to part-time so that I can devote more time and energy into this project, into this business idea, then this is going to start coming out. Then all of a sudden, these contracts are going to start coming to you, and these chains, okay, chains that were bound, these ropes that bound you, these ribbons that bound you, are going to all of a sudden then go away. Okay, you have the archer here, right? Where is it you want it to go? Okay, the problem is that in this card, the archer's arrow is facing down, right? So this tells me that you haven't got a really clear, you're opening up, right? You're starting to see things more clearly, but you're not focusing the arrow properly. You need to move this arrow so it's going towards your target. Right now you're putting an arrow into the ground, right? Right now the arrow is going down. What you need to do is have this arrow flip basically so that it's going up towards your target. You actually want this arrow to stop going into the ground and to start going up or across towards your target. So where do you want this? This requires you to draw back a little bit, right? See things from a new angle, and then to release the arrow so that you hit that bullseye. This also talks about time, waiting, patience, having patience, okay? Being calm, taking a break, taking things out, taking calling in help when you need it. I think some of you need to call in help, and I'm not saying that this is even necessarily physical help. This could also be spiritual help, but some of you need to call in some level of help to guide you on, okay, where is it that you exactly want to go. There also needs to be some more organization. Y'all need to get more organized on what it is you want to do and stop making excuses. Okay, there's definitely a message here of needing to stop making excuses. And bottom, done. Okay, stop making excuses. This is so funny because the first card that came out was focus. Okay, create with intent. Okay, focus, right? You've got the crystal grid here. Focus your energy. Where is it you want to go? What is it that you want to do? Where is it that you need to be? What can you do right now? What steps can you take this minute, right now, to start getting there? And if you're sitting here and you're going, oh, well, there's nothing I can do, you need to stop, you need to regroup, you need to think. Okay, in that case, you're still clouded, right? In that case, you haven't cleared up. Because once you've cleared up, you're going to start just needing to focus in order to make those things become a reality. Okay, rest, replenish, and release guilt, right? Fairies orders. Okay, taking time out. Some of you need to also, you're dealing with burnout. I forgot to mention this earlier. Some of you are dealing with burnout from your current job, from the current space that you're in, from the current things that you're doing. So you need to reset. You need to be mindful, and you need to really take in and say, okay, what I need to do is I need to stop it. I need to actually focus, right? Have clarity, right? For some of you, you're actually going to want to create a crystal grid. For some of you, I'm not super into crystals, honestly, like in terms of the metaphysical side of them. But for some of you, that's going to be really beneficial. For some of you, you're going to need to get out in nature. The fairies orders is about getting in nature, reconnecting to nature. You know, spending time talking to the spirits of nature. Okay, and then you've got, it told me to take the bottom card, which is, am I taking this card? No. The Secret Garden. Okay, sacred space, cultivating your space, inner beauty, self-care. Okay, having your own office space, going to different areas. Office space, by the way, doesn't need to be a dedicated space. This could also be things like going to cafes and working, but having an area that when you get in that area, you're completely focused. No distractions, no social media, no Facebook, no Instagram, no scrolling, no texting, no phone calls are being taken. You're 100% focused on the thing that needs to be done. If that means shutting yourself away in a closet, then shut yourself away in a closet. If that means needing to get out of your house and go to a cafe, restaurant, or a park, or sit in the back of your car in the middle of nowhere where there's no internet reception so you can really grind it down, that's what you need to do. But the Secret Garden is all about cultivating a sacred space. For those of you who, actually that's all of you, because this is a very small collective that I'm speaking to here. For you guys, this also applies to your spiritual practice. Really making sure that you have a sacred space to practice your spirituality, that you have a dedicated spiritual practice, that you focus an amount of time every single day or every single week in your spiritual practice. I'm going to fully admit I'm not the best person with this. Okay, I do not always have. I have a dedicated day every single week. That is my spiritual time, and sometimes I shirk that a little bit, if I'm going to be honest, and sometimes I contact my sister and I say, hey sis, do you want to do this instead? So really making sure that you set this time aside, really making sure that you focus and that you cultivate something, that you don't want to leave. When you look at something like this, I don't know how well you can see this picture. When you look at the Secret Garden, you don't want to leave it. Okay, you don't want it to be going. You don't want it to go anywhere. You really want it to just stay in it forever and be in it and envelop it. That's what you need to do. That's the message you need to do here. I'm being told to cut a card from this deck. Oh yeah, the horse and the bluebell. The horse, freedom, creating empowerment, right? Creating personal freedom and goals, right? Strength, right? When we have the horse, it's all about wanting to create a life of freedom and a life of strength. In order to do that, you need to stay focused on your goal. You need to stay focused on the things that you want to create in order to be able to reach this. There's been a consistent message through the readings about needing to be patient and let things come in their own time, right? You can't just go be the horse. You can't just open your eyes one day and then be free like the wild Mustangs, right? There's this sense of really needing to make sure that you are prepared, you've got solid foundations down, and that you're really doing a lot. I'm told to cut this, shuffle it. No, cut it. Okay. Son of Wands. Yeah, definitely, right? A lot of you also are in the healing space. I'm told not to read this as a tarot card and to read this from the imagery, so that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to ignore that and we're going to focus on the imagery. A lot of you are in medicine or have been in medicine, or you are transitioning into esoteric medicine. Okay, a lot of you are starting healing-based businesses, holistic-based businesses, energy healing-based businesses. Okay, this is all about understanding the energetic body, understanding the things that you need to know before you open your business. Don't open it prematurely because you're so excited and you want to get into this freedom energy and go, go, go. You need to be able to hone things in first. You need to shed your old skin, right? Shedding those old patterns in order to bring in the new patterns, in order to bring in the new energies that are present here. Really focusing on your passions here. We've got the orange, we've got the yellow. I know it's not showing up great on camera. We've got the orange, we've got the yellow. Really focusing on your passions, really focusing on that, what brings that fire inside of you, and how can you start implementing that today, ASAP. What can you do to heal yourself? Because if you can't heal yourself, how are you expected to heal others? Okay, so focusing on that, and then focusing on creating that foundation staying solid in it. For those of you that come from a background in medicine, because there's a secondary meaning to this card, to the imagery in this card, and that is that some of you come from a background in science or medicine. And what's happening is your scientific brain is getting in the way of your intuitive mind. And so there's a message here of needing to kind of remove the scientific brain, learn to tune it down and learn to tune into the intuition. I come from a science background as well, so this is really, really difficult. Okay, it's something because you're constantly second guessing yourself, you're constantly looking, you're constantly reading, you're constantly taking it in. You need to work on your discernment. You need to work on practicing what it is that you really want to focus on. Okay, you've dedicated the time now. You've decided, if you're watching this, you've decided to leave medicine. You've decided to leave science, right? So this is all about taking the next step, focusing on where you want to go, even if you don't fully understand where that is, right? A lot of people within the science and medical industry, when they move into something more esoteric, they want to have this full understanding of what's all going to happen, and this is how it's going to play out, and this is what's good. If I do this, X, Y, Z, then I'm going to reap A, B, C as my rewards. That's not the reality of this type of work. This type of work doesn't work necessarily, in forms it doesn't work at all, actually, in terms of scientific processes and standards. So there's a message here of really needing to watch where this arrow is going, watch where you're placing that energy, watch where you're pointing your bow and arrow, and really focusing in on cultivating your business, cultivating your projects, your creativity for some of you, and cultivating your spirituality, right? So that you're not burnt out. Some of you are leaving medicine and leaving science because you were constantly burnt out. So if you're leaving that, you don't want to be walking into something else where you're going to be burnt out all the time. So you want this freedom to come, then you need to make sure that you're going to be leaving the space that is of burnt out. You're resting, you're rejuvenating, you're finding the things that are filling your cup, that are filling your soul, and you're taking those things in and you're going to be cultivating them so that you can create and manifest and build this business, this lifestyle that you're trying to create. And don't forget to laugh and love, is the other thing I'm being told. That's it. I'm being told that's it. So that's the message. I hope that resonates, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.